Shalom, everyone. You know I like to begin a sermon or a Devar Torah with a story, sometimes humorous, or at least an attempt at humor. So let me tell you about a pious man who reached the age of 105, and suddenly he stopped coming to synagogue. Well, the rabbi was alarmed by this fellow's absence, and he called to ask him, "How come you don't come to shul anymore?" And the old man said, "I'll tell you, Rabbi, when I got to be 90, I expected God to take me any day. And then I got to be 95 and 100 and 105. So I figured that God is very busy and must have forgotten about me, and I don't want to be there in synagogue to remind him." Well, that fellow must have thought that the best thing he could do would be simply no longer to be present, out of sight, out of mind. God doesn't let Moshe get away with that strategy, however. As we saw in last week's Torah portion, God says to Moses these words. He says, "Alei alai hahara," come up, Moses, into the mountain, "Veheyeh sham," and be there. So God says to Moshe, come up to me in the mountain and be there. God is suggesting to Moshe, don't even suggest, don't think about staying away. I know who you are, and I want you to be on the mountaintop with me. So there's a question that the rabbis asked about those two words at the end of the sentence. Veheyeh sham, and be there. If Moshe was going to be on the mountain, of course he was there. So what did those words teach us? A great Hasidic rabbi, the Kotzker Rebbe, offers an explanation. He says that there are times when we are someplace, but we're not really there. You know that happens to all of us. We're someplace, but we're not in the moment, so to speak. So God wanted Moshe not only to be there on the mountain, but really, truly to be there. Now the Kotzker Rebbe knew human nature. He knew that there were times when our heart, our mind, our spirit are just somewhere else, even though we're someplace with people, in surroundings with people. So the Kotzker Rebbe tells us that in life it's important to try to be there, to appreciate the moment in which we are living, to appreciate the experience we're having, really to be in the moment. Being there seems to be something very important to people. How often it happens that when I'm giving a eulogy, people ask me to always include that so-and-so, the deceased, was always there. People tell me the most incredible stories about how grandparents endured terrible disabilities, but somehow managed to be there at a graduation, a bar mitzvah, a wedding, a bat mitzvah. Not only were they there, but they were really there, feeling fully and totally the joy of the moment. I heard of a story of a child who goes to approach his father, and he says to his father, "Dad, can I speak to you for a few minutes?" And the father says, "Sure." And the son doesn't say anything. And so the father asked him, "What's wrong? You had something you wanted to tell me." So the son says to his father, "I need you to listen to me." And the father said, "I am listening to you." And the son then said, "I need your dad to listen to me without looking at your BlackBerry." We look at our BlackBerries, we are distracted. Too often we are just not in the moment, not present, when people really need us to be present. Some years ago, the very famous guitarist Segovia was asked, what is the secret of his performance technique? And Segovia answered and he said, I must be present for every note I play. What a stunning strategy to apply to our own lives. To be present for every note. To be present when our loved ones speak to us. To be present when people approach us and look to us for advice. To be present when we see something beautiful and extraordinary in life. And even to be present for what is ordinary but special because it is ordinary. We can't always be there. No one of us can. But we can more often than we do. More fully than we might have been in the past. God does us a favor in his instruction to Moshe. By telling Moshe, Moshe, be there. He's telling every one of us that being there can make a powerful difference in our lives and in the lives of the people that we love. We may not be Segovia, but we can be present. We can be present for every beautiful note of life. And when all is said and done, that is what people will never forget. Thank you very much.